Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a short trade here on crude oil, a wave pattern short. 45.49 is the entry short. Get the stop in the right place here. Looking for our first target coming off at 21. Second target's going to be coming off at our next push a little bit lower, 91. We're going to go to 94 on that last portion there. You could even look for an extended target down to 65. We'll go to 68 on that last portion, primarily just because if we zoom out a little bit here, we can see that we had an initial spike up on the morning, right? We saw the buyers come in. They gave a nice big push to the upside. Even, you could easily draw some channels in here too, some nice channels to the upside, but they got a little overzealous on these highs here, and they're taking some steep profit back down, and that's our trigger that we're looking for to hop back in the opposite direction and ride that move down. If this move is going to go lower, you could end up seeing this just be a big old range day, right? Big range day, and if that's the case, they would be targeting all the way back down here at the lows at 24. You could look for 36. I think it's a little bit too aggressive. Honestly, even going to 68 is relatively aggressive. I'm a much bigger proponent of looking for conservative targets, and that would be a target all off at 94. But this one does have some merit for looking for those extended runners. So 68 is going to be that final portion. So the downside on this wave is looking really good. We are above the BMT, which makes it a little bit tougher, but everything else pointing to the downside. There's so many compensating factors on this, it's ridiculous. So everything else, clean as day. Nice, easy short trade that we're looking for here. 49 is the entry short. Looking for the first target at 21. It's going to be 28 ticks on that first portion. Second target coming off at 94, that's 55 ticks. And then if we can get that full rotation all the way back down to 68, then we're looking at 81 more ticks on the move. So 2 off at 28, 55, and 81 gives 192 ticks possible on this ride lower. And that could definitely ride into a really beautiful push down. We're coming into 9:30. The stock exchange just opened up. Not really seeing much of an effect on crude oil, obviously, but that is something to pay attention to, that it's 9:30 already, right? We're getting closer towards moving into lunchtime. People are starting to think, where do I want to go for lunch? Chipotle's kind of close. They're starting to factor in what they're going to start doing looking at the afternoon. So we're starting to see these things slow down a little bit. Now, the big slowdown's not going to happen for another hour, so we have plenty of time yet. But something to keep in the back of your head that, hey, we might see this trade take a little bit longer than we've been seeing the other waves this morning take, right? The other waves this morning, everyone's raring to go. They started off the day nice and early. We've been rip-roaring all morning. This one now might take a little bit longer to get its legs to the downside. So overall, we just need to kind of sit on hands and wait. 45.49 is our entry short, looking for our first target at 21, and see if we can get that collapse back down to 94, 68, and just ride this thing lower. So we'll give it a little bit of time here and see if we can catch that push down. All right, seeing the sellers come in nice and strong. We have a test of our target here at 21. Didn't get the fill, so we need to see this get a push down again and give us our fill at 21. Now, these targets, you can look to front run if you'd like, and if you did, you got filled. I'm not a big fan of front running that first target, though. I like getting what it will give me on that first portion, then looking for front running the rest of them just to be a little more conservative. This first one I'm usually a little more aggressive on, and, well, so far we haven't gotten a fill on it yet, right? So 45.21, we did test it. We didn't get a fill. Just wanted to do a quick update here. Stop still stays put, right? Stop still stays at 63 because we haven't gotten a fill. I don't blame you if you want to go to break even just because it has hit the target technically and you didn't get a fill, right? That is the more, kind of conservative approach, but doing that, you might just end up getting stopped out early on a trade that could end up just dropping 400 ticks, right? So you want to play it by ear. If you see this really get chopped up, it's just not going. It tests your target a bajillion times and you just don't get your fill at 21, then maybe try to get out at 22 instead, right? One tick, nothing to really argue over by any means, and that's an option, right? So we got our test at 21, just need to see it get filled. And again, you conservative guys, knowing that we tested 21, to prevent from a double bottom forming, just put it on 22, right? It's one tick difference, but 1 tick really is that much to get upset about when it comes back. If you get your fill, are you going to be upset when it double bottoms at 21? You still don't get your fill, and then it rips up and stops you out. No thanks. So we're going to move it to 22. Just a slight adjustment. It's 27 ticks now in that first portion, and that'll still wind up at 190 ticks overall in the day. So playing a little bit conservative, but still kind of aggressive on that first target there at 21. We'll give it a little bit more time here and see if it wants to push back down and give us our 22 this time. All right, and there we go. We got our fill at 22. So that conservative target got us out 1 tick earlier. Not a big deal, but again, keeping an eye on that area, 21, right? Look what's happening. It's double bottoming in at 21. So you might not have been filled there again if you left it at 21, and you really don't want to deal with it if it comes all the way back up and stops you out. So with this, now that we're in a logical place, what we can do is we'll lock our stop in a little bit closer here, drop our stop at 48. Stop is nice and tight where it needs to go, and now it's just a matter of letting it ride and see if we can get that next push, that break below the low at 45.12, and then the push down to 44.94 for that next target. So we get a little bit more time here and see if we can get that push down. All right, seeing some big follow through from the sellers now that they finally got away from that move. There's our target filled at 94. Beautiful move down after they finally stopped playing around with that 21 level. You can see the double bottom that came all the way back up to 45. Our stop was safe, but really close, up to 45 and then dumped right back through the lows. So everyone that didn't take their profit there, they might have got scared and got out a little bit early here on that next pullback. You would have still made some money if you got out early, but look at the miss that you would have had after that fact. And that's why you've got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. When it comes down, you don't want to deal with a double bottom. Just take it at 22. It's 1 tick difference. It's not going to make a big deal, especially when you lock in 270 on maybe one contract instead of giving back 150, right? So that's kind of the mentality that sometimes you have to come into when you see this type of environment. But so far, so good. We're seeing them start to really grind those lows. We're getting that beautiful push down, lots of aggression from the sellers. And from here, again, we know that this cloud should act as resistance on this move lower. We've been seeing that whole rise higher supported by this cloud movement. It wasn't until they crossed that we finally saw a little bit of profit taking. So we can ride that cloud along with it. So right now the stop's at 47, but if we start seeing this falter a little bit, I don't blame you at all if you wanted to trail in next to that cloud or so and just let it go. But the next target's going to be at 68. I do consider that the aggressive runner target. By all means, if you want, you can get out right now and take your 50, 60 ticks of profit on this last portion. Because we've already got locked in a beautiful run to the downside, we'll see if we can get that extended target to 68. There's definitely some reason why it should be falling down to that low. It's just a matter of seeing if it wants to give us that follow through. So we'll give it a little bit more time here, and we'll see if we can get that 68 push. All right, sellers resuming some big downside pressure here. We got really messed up around this 91 level, so because of that, I want to make sure to get my stop in ahead of that area. I really don't want to see that area get broken. You can see how choppy and messy and just gross that we got inside there. And because of that, that gives us a big clue that they really fought over that level at 91. There we got our target filled at 68. But if it comes back to that 91 area, you should see them want to take it as resistance in that case, and you don't want to see it break. So because of that, we locked the stop in a little bit closer. But in this case, we got our target filled at 68. Big old runner target to the downside. Beautiful push down, and that's exactly what we were looking for. You can't ask for a much better setup than that, especially coming back from a long holiday weekend, starting it out with a big old push down, 190 ticks to the downside. That's $1,900 on only 4 contracts. So great wave pattern short. Again, the concept now is if they really want to cycle down, you could be looking for a move all the way back down to the lows, 24, or even a new low of day underneath 18, right? So you've got definite distance on here if the sellers want to continue, and that's the big key. So far, we've been a bullish day. They may just want this deep pullback to buy it again and rip that thing right back up to the high of day, but until you see them turn it around, can still be looking for shorts. If we get a nice turnaround, we get back above the moving averages, we start seeing the buyers sweeping back in, look for a wave pattern long and ride that thing right back up again. But that's going to do it for us on this one. Beautiful wave pattern short, 190 ticks on the trade. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to shoot an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.